Hi, everyone. We're so glad you're here. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, bringing you unique personal insight on Glacier National Park that you can't get anywhere else. In this episode, we are discussing a hike that is just north of Glacier National Park in Waterton Lakes National Park, technically in Canada, but Glacier and Waterton share our International Peace Park, the first of its kind created, right?
Yeah, it was formed in 1932, and the purpose was to foster peace and international cooperation, all for conservation.
What a great idea. Our national parks, what do they call it? The greatest idea we've ever had. And I get we can sign off on that. And it's easy to get to. It's not that far. You know, if you're driving around the park, if you're new to the area, it's large. It's there are different northeast part of the park, North Fork. It's it's a long and windy road to get there. Many glacier areas way up on the northeast side. And to drive around the park is a couple of hours always, and to go up and over the Sun Road, which is what we did to get to Waterton. It's just a couple of hours, and you're in another country, but so close in proximity to Glacier that you can see right into it.
Yeah, coming from Kalispell, you can drive Highway 2 and kind of go around that way towards Many Glacier, or you can drive the Going to the Sun Road. Either way, it takes about 3.5 hours, depending on the traffic on the Going to the Sun Road. But you go through Babb, and then you take a left towards Chief Mountain Highway, and it kind of takes you right up there. And you get a glimpse of, the eastern prairie lands there and a touch of where Glacier hits the prairie. So it's very beautiful to drive, and you get a nice glance of Chief Mountain on your trip up there, which is kind of a sacred mountain for the Blackfeet and has a lot of, history there. But I would say it's well worth the drive to get up there. We haven't hiked up there too much, but we are hooked completely, and we can't wait to get back up there.
And in fact, we need to mention that the hike that we did here just recently is Carthew-Alderson, and it's a point-to-point hike. It's one of the classics up in Waterton. We've done Crypt Lake, and we'll talk about that later, and Bertha Lake. But Carthew-Alderson is an excellent up and over hike from the west to the east is the direction we did. And this is all just north of the Belly River area in Glacier National Park. And let's talk a little bit about the trail itself. It runs about 12 miles or 20 kilometers one way, and the trail is beautiful. You start there at Cameron Lake. The shuttle takes you there because if you're staying in Waterton, it's a one-way hike, so you get shuttled to the start of the hike and then come back. That's one of the best ways to do it. That's what we did through the Tamarack Outdoor Center.
Yeah, and you can start from the Waterton townsite as well, but
Sure.
Statman, what's the elevation gain starting from either direction, and which would you recommend?
Yeah, well, we looked for recommendations ourselves, and it is a little more tolerable coming from west to east, taking the shuttle, starting at Cameron Lake, gains about 2,000 feet of elevation over that 12 miles. And if you go the other way, it's 3,000 gains. So the way that we did it, 2,000 up, 3,000 down, approximately, and is super tolerable, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you take the shuttle, it takes you on the Acamina Parkway, which is a really, really beautiful hike, and you can book your shuttle at Tamarack. It's a clothing store, guiding facility there in Waterton town site, and they give you information too. It's not just, you jump on a bus and everybody's quiet. No, they feed you information, which is kind of cool. Recommend some trails, give you a little history, talk about the fire that came through there in 2017 that made a huge impact on the area. So I think the shuttle was well worth it. And starting at Cameron Lake, it's a great spot to start off. They've got some information there. They've got restrooms for you, and the lake is really beautiful. You can do some boating on there. You can't bring your own watercraft, but you can certainly rent there, and it's great for fishing as well.
Yeah, Cameron Lake at about 5,400 feet elevation, or 1,646 meters. And it starts off, and the hike kind of switches back through some, like Sarah said, some burned area. And we were lucky to have kind of a cool, cloudy day, but I see how it could be warm in the height of summer.
Yeah, it's kind of the first, I would say, quarter mile is relatively flat. So it gives you a chance to warm up a little bit before it gains a little bit of elevation. I would consider it more of a moderate elevation gain. maybe compare it to Pegan Pass.
I don't know.
Type
The way
moderation if
you were
you've done it.
breathing, I would call it somewhat strenuous, but we just took a moment to hit our stride.
Yeah, but we are hiking through, or you will hike through, the burn area that we talked about, the Keno fire that really affected all of Waterton site back in 2017. There is a section of the trail, it's interesting, that the fire did not hit at all. So you will get into, a thicker forested area. But yeah, it starts off switchbacking through. You can see some of that new growth that, a forest fire, wildland fire, they're really important to the ecosystem of the forest. It helps regenerate. It kills off those naughty bark beetles and kind of restarts the forest system. So it's kind of cool to see the new undergrowth and the fireweed that has come up and the berries that have reformed. But after going up switchbacks for about 2 miles, you kind of hit a leveled area and you get above Cameron Lake there. And in my opinion, I think the hike is more beautiful, with the fire going through there. You can see the mountains a little bit better. It's not as sucked in. I could see to where when it was full of the forest, it could be pretty buggy, but with it being open from the fire, you get really far views back down into Glacier, further up into Canada, surrounding the rest of the park. This trail starts off in the southwestern corner of the park. So, the views down into Glacier, into Montana, they're great. In fact, when you get up to the highest point on this hike at a pass, you're about 1.5 miles from the border, technically. So just a great hike with awesome views everywhere.
Yeah. You can see Kintla and Kennerly Peaks, some of the highest peaks in Glacier in that area, and even into the Bowman Lake area, Rainbow Peak, and some of these things. If you're not familiar with the peaks, check them out. There are plenty of maps online. Sometimes we mention things assuming that people know where they're looking and what they're looking at, but we'll continue to try to describe it. But there are other resources out there where you can really check out the map. We love those Nat Geo illustrated maps that are waterproof. You can take them with you. It's a great resource, honestly, for safety as well. Bring a compass and a map when you hike.
Yeah, and this is a trail that provides plenty of water. So if you're not interested in carrying a lot of water, bring your water filter. You can filter right away at Cameron Lake, and then once you get 2 miles up, you'll hit Summit Lake. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a cute little tarn. You can filter there.
And if you're not interested in carrying your wife's water, then she can also bring a filter.
Sometimes that happens. That's true. I would also recommend hiking poles because you will encounter some scree in your switchbacks heading up to your highest point at the pass. And Waterton is just a place that's windy. It's known for its, strong gusty winds that come through there. And it's because it's situated on a major storm track. It's near the 49th parallel, and that's where cold northern winds collide with that warm western winds, which makes for an unstable weather system. A lot of their weather comes from the Pacific Northwest, Oregon and Washington. So the valley is like a huge wind tunnel for accelerating winds, and it's almost windy all the time. It's very unusual to have a calm day.
Unstable is a great word because when we were there, it was supposed to be 74 and sunny, relatively calm, and it was when we started, but we've said it and we'll say it over and over again, be prepared for anything when you're out hiking. And by the time we got to the Carthew-Alderson kind of saddle summit area, it was raining and it was blowing, and I wish we had an anemometer so we could know exactly what the mph of the wind was, but 60, 80, I don't know, 60 miles an hour probably.
They're known for such wind gusts, 60 plus, so it really felt like that. But before we got to the saddle, we kind of approached more scree hiking, I would say.
Yeah, and climbing. You can see your trail carved into the side of the scree bowl.
Yeah, and anytime the trail takes a fork in the road, Canada is really great about putting signs, well marked. So you will have a couple junctions. It's very easy to follow, the Alderson Carthew Trail. So continue on that. We did encounter some bighorn sheep, some ewes and a lamb. And
Right, they didn't want to share. I mean, they were right on the trail, and usually I let Sarah go in the front, and I sort of just stay back and let her encounter. Well, she talks sweetly to these animals, and that really helps.
I try to encourage them that, if they just step off the trail, just go down. Oftentimes they walk in front of us, real casual. They don't seem upset or afraid. And we always keep our distance. We give them plenty of space. But I kindly tell them, if you just step off the trail, we won't continue to push you. And sometimes we ourselves have to inconveniently step off the trail and go in higher, scree-ish areas and get away from them and kind of go around them type thing.
They kindly tell us, well, this is our area, so you guys just chill. But remember to keep your distance. If you're new to the area, the larger the animal, the more distance you should keep from it and give them a good wide berth when passing or approaching.
Yeah, and actually, talking about the weather and stuff, this is a good place where you hike that you should probably carry all the essentials. Be ready for anything. Carry, obviously, your bear spray. There are bears in this park, but something to block the wind, something to protect you from rain because it comes in suddenly and it blows in quickly with the wind. And we did encounter that.
Mm-hmm.
We got up to the high point on the saddle. They call it the Carthew Summit. It's really more of, there's a mountain right there called Mount Carthew, but they call Carthew Summit where it's more of the shoulder. So it's a viewpoint is what it is. It's not necessarily the summit of the mountain. We did end up climbing the actual mountain while we were there, and we got caught in some pretty strong gusty winds, and rain came pouring in, and it was more of a sideways rain. It was more of a sideways rain.
Yes. Well, we do have more to talk about, but we're going to take a short commercial break. Stick with us. We've got another segment coming right up.
Freedom Bank isn't the biggest bank in the world, but neither is Glacier National Park, and look how incredible it is. We believe small can be mighty. We know your name, we know your goals, and we bring the banking tools you need, no matter if you live in Columbia Falls, Kalispell, or halfway up Grinnell Glacier Trail. Proud sponsor of Hiking Fools. Let's climb higher together. Member FDIC.
All right, welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and we have been discussing a great hike up in Waterton Lakes National Park, the International Peace Park with Glacier, and we just liked exploring the northern section of this. And the trail we're discussing is the Carthew-Alderson Trail, and it's a classic up there. And Sarah, I mean, obviously it's one of the hikes listed, but why would somebody go on this trail?
Yeah, it's actually one of the most popular trails to hike in Waterton and the Canadian Rockies. It's a point-to-point hike, and it's similar if you've hiked in Glacier National Park in Montana. It's similar to the High Line. It's just got great views. You've got diverse scenery. You pass by 4 alpine lakes. You got the panoramic mountain views. You got the classic Rocky Mountain wildlife. It's just a very popular hike overall, and it's not terrible as far as the elevation goes. It's 12 and a half miles. What would you say, Josh? How many hours would you expect?
It's interesting because the books all said allow 8 hours, but you've really got it depends on your physical capacity and how much you know about yourself and the way you hike. I think it was probably more like 5 hours for us. We did, as Sarah mentioned, go off trail a little bit and summit Carthew Peak or Mount Carthew. And that was about an extra mile and 1,000 feet. That's where we encountered the whipping rain and wind that really hurts. I mean, sometimes rain hurts. And my neck was sore the second day because I was hunched over and trying to avoid it. But it should take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours for the average hiker, probably.
And Waterton Lakes, it's Canada's 4th national park, and it's the smallest in all of the Canadian Rockies, but it is quite a gem, and you should get up there and explore if you haven't. It's a great place to also go hiking if you've hiked a lot of the trails in Montana and Glacier National Park. It's not that far away, but it shares some of the best characteristics of Glacier. It's on the eastern part of the Continental Divide, so the vegetation's a little bit different. It's a little more dry, a little more rocky, a little more windswept. But it's a really neat place to be.
And we heard from the locals that it's a great place to be throughout the year. Our shuttle driver made sure to let us know that the road that we traveled on the shuttle is open, not to vehicle traffic, but to skiers, cross-country skiing, and something you can do in Glacier. Anytime there's a road closure, almost every time, you can bring your skis or snowshoes and go a little further than the road closure and find a hike. And it's Glacier National Park is open all year round.
So once you're at the Carthew Saddle, you kind of look down on the Carthew Lakes. There's 3 of them, and they're beautiful little tarns. They're aquamarine, that classic glacier flowered silt aquamarine. And it's great on a full sunny day because the sun just beats down and really reflects that light and that color back to you. And just pictures from that saddle is spectacular. But that's where you drop down. It kind of gently winds you down, and you go around all 3 of those lakes. So another opportunity to filter water. And these lakes are located on a few rocky shelves where, the glacier has pushed up and created those tarns. And there's little rocky shelves that you go across. We did see a mountain goat higher up on a slope. So we did see that. We saw a few signs of bear. We did not see a bear this day, but you can have horses on this trail, and we saw signs of that as well.
Well, might I correct you? We did see 2 bears on this day, not on this trail.
Not on the trail, but
going
yes.
over the Sun Road, we saw a grizzly, a sow, and 2 cubs, which was really cool, crossing the road right by Logan Pass. And then on the way home, we did see a black bear on the Chief Mountain Highway.
We did, right before we crossed back over into Montana. You are correct. But not on this trail. Plenty of sign, though, so make sure you're bear aware, especially when you re-enter that little forested area of firs and tamarack that did not get burned. It's a thick area. It's a great place for bears to be in and doing their bear thing. So make sure you make plenty of noise and keep your bear spray on the front of you, and pack in, pack out, leave no trace. We don't want to attract bears to human scent.
Good advice always. And speaking of the photos, the perspective that Sarah mentioned, check out our Instagram feed at HikingFoolsMT for some great photos from this hike and others. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we really want to describe the hike and give you the insight and perspective, but check out the photos because that's what might make you want to go.
After skirting around the last Carthew Lake, you're still kind of in the forested area and not back in the September 11th, 2017 Kino fire. But there is Alderson Lake. So it's the last lake you will encounter, and there's a little backcountry site there. So you can book that ahead of time. But after branching away from Alderson Lake, you kind of go back into the burn area, and you have really good views of the surrounding valley. It's the Carthew Valley.
And it is. It's terrific. And we do have to mention the gorgeous Prince of Wales Hotel, situated on a grassy slope above Waterton Lake. And there's just peaks and everything. You're right there. That's one neat thing about Waterton is you're right among the peaks. And there's easy access to all of the hiking trails. And let me just say, if you're coming from Montana, can you bring bear spray?
You can cross. You have to declare it. They will ask you, and you just tell them, and they should let you go right through. I do declare. You can go back and forth with it. Yes. Okay,
and of course, you also need a Parks Canada pass to enter. The Glacier National Park or the interagency pass does not work up there, so you're going to need to plan, a little bit ahead of time to make sure you know what you need as you enter the park.
So once you're at the saddle that we talked about, the Carthew Saddle, it's about 7.5 miles back down to the Waterton townsite. So after you hike through the forested area that did not get burned and then you branch back out, you'll start to see Cameron Creek below, and that's near the end of your hike. You're almost to the town site, and Cameron Falls will greet you at the end of the hike. So that was kind of cool to end and see some waterfalls. And then you hike maybe a few hundred feet and you're back
right into the town site.
Yeah.
So the Carthew-Alderson Trail in Waterton, check it out. It's a great point-to-point hike. You're going to want to plan to enter the park, and you're going to want to plan to secure a shuttle. It's kind of a one-way hike normally, and it's got everything. It's got a little bit of everything. The saddle is great. The surrounding peaks. We had some huckleberries present pretty late into the season. Of course, that depends on the year. But we had just about everything we needed for a terrific experience on this trail in Waterton Lakes National Park. And we've got so many more hikes that we would love to share with you. We asked you to tune in next time. And also remember to check out more episodes and follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go.